The mysterious encounter. It was a quiet evening in the city. The streetlights flickered as Alex walked home from work. The cold breeze touched his face, and he pulled his jacket tighter. It was just another ordinary day. Until he saw her. A woman stood under a streetlight, watching him. She was beautiful, almost unreal. Her long silver hair shined under the dim light, and her deep blue eyes looked at him with an intense gaze. She wore a black leather jacket and dark jeans, blending in with the night. Alex slowed his steps. Something about her seemed familiar, yet strange. His heart beat faster. He had never seen someone like her before, yet he felt he should know her. The woman smiled. "Do you recognize me, Alex?" His eyes widened. How did she know his name? He took a step back. "Who are you?" The woman tilted her head. "You don't remember me." She sighed. "I was your childhood neighbor." Alex frowned. "That's not possible. I grew up here, and I remember all my neighbors. I have never seen you before." The woman took a step closer. Her eyes had a strange glow. "You knew me. A long time ago. But not like this." A shiver ran down Alex's spine. He tried to remember, but his mind was blank. "Are you playing some kind of joke?" She chuckled. "I don't joke about things like this, Alex." Her voice was soft but firm. Alex glanced around. The street was empty. A strange feeling settled in his chest. Something was not right. He needed to get away. "I have to go," he said, turning to leave. "You always ran away when we played hide and seek," the woman said. "You were fast, but I was faster, just like now." Alex froze. His childhood memories came rushing back. He remembered playing with a girl next door, a strange girl who was always a little different. She could run faster, climb higher, and see things he couldn't. But then, one day, she disappeared. His breathing became uneven. He turned back to the woman. "No, that's not possible. She was just a kid. And she wasn't real." The woman's smile faded. "I was real, Alex. I am real." She took a deep breath. "And I am not human." Silence. The world around him felt smaller. The street, the buildings, everything blurred. Only she remained clear. "You're lying," he whispered. She shook her head. "I wish I was." Alex stared at her. His childhood neighbor, the girl he had almost forgotten, was standing before him. But she was different. No longer a child. No longer human. What are you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated, then answered, "I am an alien, Alex." His mind struggled to process her words. It was impossible, ridiculous. Yet, deep inside, he felt she was telling the truth. "Why are you here?" he asked. She looked up at the sky, her expression turning serious. "Because something is coming, Alex. Something dangerous." A chill ran through him. "Dangerous?" She nodded. "I need your help. I can't fight this alone." He laughed nervously. "Me? I'm just a normal guy. Why would you need my help?" The woman stepped closer. "Because you are not just a normal guy, Alex. You are connected to this, whether you remember it or not." His head spun. This was too much. First, an old childhood memory returned, then an alien neighbor, and now he was part of something big, something dangerous. I need time to think," he said, stepping back again. "You don't have time," she replied. Suddenly, a strange light appeared in the sky. It was bright, pulsing, and moving fast. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't a star. The woman's expression darkened. "They found me." Alex's heart pounded. "Who?" She looked straight into his eyes. "The ones who want to kill me. And now, they know about you too." The light grew bigger, brighter. A low humming sound filled the air. "We have to go. Now," she said, grabbing his hand. Alex had a choice. Run away and pretend this night never happened or trust the mysterious woman who claimed to be his childhood neighbor. The sound got louder. The light got closer. "Alex," she shouted. And with one final look at the sky, he made his choice. Secrets of the past. The city lights blurred as Alex ran. His breath came in sharp gasps, his heartbeat pounding like a drum in his ears. The woman, Syria, as she called herself, held his wrist, pulling him through dark alleys and empty streets. Behind them, the sky pulsed with an eerie glow. The strange light that had appeared moments ago was now moving, scanning the area like a giant eye searching for prey. Alex's mind raced. Who was she? Why did she need him? And most terrifying of all, what was coming for them? They turned a corner and ducked into a narrow alley. Syria pressed her back against the wall, motioning for Alex to stay silent. A low humming noise vibrated through the air. The light passed overhead, casting a cold, blue glow across the buildings. It lingered for a moment, then moved on. Syria let out a breath. They haven't locked on to us yet. Alex leaned against the wall, struggling to catch his breath. His legs felt weak, his mind overwhelmed. Who are they? Syria looked at him, her glowing blue eyes serious. They're called the Krillon. They are hunters, and I am their target. Alex shook his head. Why? What do they want from you? Syria hesitated. Then she said, because I don't belong here, and they know it. Alex frowned. You said you were my childhood neighbor, but I don't remember you looking like this. A sad smile crossed her face. That's because I didn't. She took a step forward, standing close to him. When I lived next to you, I looked human. I was sent here as part of an experiment. My people, my real people, wanted to see if I could blend in, if I could live among humans without being noticed. Alex stared at her in disbelief. You're saying you, what? Pretended to be a human kid. She nodded. For years. His mind spun. He remembered a girl next door. Someone quiet, different. She had always been faster, smarter, stronger than the other kids. At the time, he thought she was just special. But now, hearing this, it made an eerie kind of sense. What happened to you? He asked. She looked away. I was taken back. My mission was over. I was supposed to forget this place. Forget you. But I couldn't. Her voice was soft, filled with something Alex couldn't quite place. Regret. Pain. But now, she continued, the Krillon know I came back, and they won't stop until they find me. Alex swallowed. And me. What do they want with me? Syria looked at him carefully. Because you are the only human who remembers me. That makes you dangerous. His stomach twisted. Dangerous. I didn't even know you were an alien until 5 minutes ago. She sighed. It doesn't matter. In their eyes, you are now part of this. If they capture you, they'll wipe your memory. Or worse. A cold chill ran through Alex. Worse. Syria hesitated, then said, they kill loose ends. Silence. Alex leaned his head against the wall, his breath shaky. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be real. He was just an ordinary guy. He had a job, a normal life. He wasn't part of some alien conspiracy. But the fear in Syria's eyes was real. The glowing light in the sky was real. And deep inside, something told him this was just the beginning. Syria stepped forward. Alex, listen to me. I know this is too much, but you have to trust me. I didn't come back to Earth just to see you. I came back because I need your help. He frowned. Help with what? She glanced up at the sky, her face tense. The Krillon are not just after me. They are after something bigger, and Earth is in danger. Alex let out a humorless laugh. Great, so now the whole planet is at risk. Syria didn't smile. Yes. He stopped laughing. Syria placed a hand on his shoulder. You have two choices. Walk away, Pretend this never happened and try to live a normal life. But they will find you, Alex, sooner or later. Or, she took a deep breath. Come with me. Let me show you the truth. Alex looked at her, searching for any sign that she was lying. But her eyes held nothing but sincerity. The sound of the humming returned. The light swept across the city again. The Krillon were still searching. Alex took a shaky breath. What do I have to do? Siria's face softened. Follow me. She grabbed his hand again, and they ran. The arrival of the hunters. Alex's lungs burned as he ran, his feet pounding against the pavement. Siria pulled him through the twisting alleys of the city, moving like she knew exactly where to go. The glowing light in the sky was getting closer. The humming sound turned into a low mechanical growl, like something alive and hunting. Alex risked a glance upward. A dark, sleek ship hovered above the city, silent except for the eerie hum. It wasn't like anything he had ever seen. Sharp edges, an unnatural smoothness, and no visible engines. It moved like a ghost, scanning the streets with an unnatural blue light. Keep moving, Siria ordered, pulling him forward. They reached a small, abandoned shop at the edge of town. The windows were shattered, the door barely hanging on its hinges. Siria pushed it open and pulled Alex inside. She pressed a button on a small device hidden in her sleeve. Instantly, the air inside the shop shimmered, and a thin, almost invisible energy field surrounded them. What is that? Alex asked, still panting. A shield, Siria said. It will hide us from their scanners, but not for long. Alex bent over, hands on his knees, trying to catch his breath. So, you said they're called the Krillon. Who the hell are they? Siria leaned against the wall, watching the blue light pass by the window. They are an empire that conquers planets, but they don't just invade like humans do. They work in the shadows first. They watch. They study. And when the time is right, they strike. A chill crawled down Alex's spine. And Earth. Are they planning to invade us? Siria's expression darkened. They already have. Alex's stomach twisted. What do you mean? Siria took a deep breath. They have agents hidden among humans. People who are not what they seem. They manipulate governments, control corporations, and prepare the world for the day the real invasion begins. Alex shook his head. That's insane. Someone would have noticed. Siria gave him a sad smile. Some have, but they never live long enough to warn anyone. Alex swallowed hard. And what do they want with you? Siria hesitated. Because I betrayed them. Silence filled the air. Alex stared at her. You worked for them. She clenched her fists. Not by choice. After I was taken from Earth, I was trained to serve the Krillon Empire. They wanted me to be a scout, someone who could blend in with different species and report back to them. But I couldn't do it. I saw what they did to planets that resisted. And I refused to be part of it. Alex frowned. So you ran. She nodded. I escaped. But the Krillon don't forgive traitors. And they don't leave loose ends. Alex ran a hand through his hair. This was too much. Just a few hours ago, his biggest worry was whether he had enough money for rent. Now, he was hiding from alien bounty hunters with a runaway spy. The humming outside grew louder. The blue light passed over the shop again, lingering for a moment. Alex held his breath. Siria's hand tightened around her device. Then, just as suddenly, the light moved on. The ship drifted past them, continuing its search. Siria exhaled. We need to leave the city. Alex stared at her. And go where? She straightened. There's a safe house. Outside of town. It's protected. We can rest there and make a plan. Alex hesitated. And then what? Siria's eyes were serious. Then we fight back. Alex let out a humorless laugh. Fight back? Against an entire alien empire? Siria stepped closer. You don't understand, Alex. You are not just a random person in all this. You are special. He frowned. Why does everyone keep saying that? Syria hesitated again, as if choosing her next words carefully. Because your family isn't entirely human either. Alex froze. What? Syria nodded. Your father. He wasn't from Earth. Alex felt the floor tilt beneath him. His father had died when he was young. He had no memories of the man, only old photos and his mother's stories. This is crazy, he muttered. Syria placed a hand on his arm. I know this is a lot, but you need to trust me. There's a reason the Krillon are interested in you. And if we don't move fast, they'll find out before you do. A loud boom shattered the silence. The shop trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The blue light from outside turned red. Syria's face went pale. They found us. Alex's heart nearly stopped. The ship outside began to descend. A long, thin ramp extended from its belly. Dark figures stepped out, their movements precise, calculated. They weren't human. Tall, armored figures with smooth, jet-black skin. Their eyes glowed in eerie silver. They moved without sound, their weapons sleek and sharp. Syria grabbed Alex's wrist. Run. But it was too late. One of the figures raised a device. A wave of invisible energy blasted through the shop, sending Alex crashing to the floor. His vision blurred, his body frozen. He couldn't move. Syria screamed. She reached for her belt, pulling out a small metallic object. With a flick of her wrist, it extended into a glowing blade. The Krillon soldiers surrounded them. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward. Its voice was low, metallic. Target acquired. Syria lunged at them with her weapon, slashing through the air. Sparks flew as her blade met their armor. Alex struggled against the invisible force holding him down. His mind screamed at him to move, to help. But before he could break free, everything went dark. The safe house. Darkness swallowed Alex. His body felt weightless, his mind drifting between sleep and consciousness. Distant echoes rang in his ears, shouts, clashing metal, an eerie hum that vibrated through his bones. Then, suddenly, pain. A sharp, searing pain in his chest jolted him awake. His eyes snapped open. The world around him was a blur of motion. A vehicle, a strange, hovering craft, was racing through a dark landscape. The city was gone. Now, outside the window, Alex saw endless fields stretching under a star-filled sky. A low mountain range loomed ahead in the distance. He gasped for air, his body stiff. His arms felt like they had been electrocuted. Stay still. Syria's voice came from beside him. He turned his head. She was piloting the craft, her face tense and streaked with dust. A faint blue glow traced the edges of the controls under her fingers. She didn't look at him, her eyes locked onto the horizon. What? What happened? Alex groaned. Syria exhaled. They hit you with a stun wave. You were out for 5 minutes. Alex blinked hard, his mind trying to piece everything together. The Krillon. Still searching, she interrupted. But I managed to get us out before they could take you. Flashes of memory struck him. The shop, the Krillon soldiers, the leader's glowing silver eyes. Syria had fought them. She had saved him. Alex's body ached, but his brain was on fire. Where are we going? Syria's hands gripped the controls tighter. To a safe house. It's hidden. Shielded. The Krillon won't find us there. Alex let out a long breath. His head pounded. So, I guess my normal life is over, he muttered. Syria finally glanced at him. It was never normal to begin with. Alex didn't know what to say to that. He stared out the window instead, watching the dark landscape rush by. The mountains were getting closer. The vehicle slowed. A rocky cliffside loomed ahead, rising from the earth like a jagged wall. Syria guided the craft lower, toward what looked like a solid wall of stone. Alex tensed. Syria. That's a mountain. not a landing spot. Syria ignored him. She reached forward, tapped a small device on the dashboard, and whispered something in a language Alex didn't understand. Then, the mountain vanished, or rather, the illusion of it did. Alex's mouth fell open. Where once was a solid cliff, there was now a wide metal entrance, large enough to fit the hovering vehicle inside. "Welcome to the safe house," Syria said as they entered. The craft touched down inside a dimly lit cavern. The walls weren't stone. They were metal, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly. The air was cool, humming with hidden energy. Alex stepped out of the vehicle, his legs shaky. He turned in a slow circle, taking in the strange underground structure. He struggled to find words. "This doesn't look human." "It's not," Syria confirmed, walking ahead. "It was built long ago by a group that fought the Krillon. Some of them were human. Some were not." Alex followed, still feeling lightheaded. "So what now?" Syria pressed her palm against a panel on the wall. A section of the metal shifted, revealing a hidden doorway. "Now," she said, "I tell you the truth." The truth about Alex. The room beyond was small, but filled with advanced technology. Screens displayed strange maps. Floating spheres of light hovered in the air, casting a soft glow. Syria walked to the center of the room and turned to face Alex. "The Krillon aren't just after me," she said. "They're after you." Alex folded his arms. "Yeah, you said that. But I still don't get why." Syria hesitated, as if choosing her words carefully. Then she gestured to one of the screens. A hologram appeared. A star system, unfamiliar and vast. One of the planets glowed red. "This," she said, pointing at it, "is where your father was born." Alex froze. The air between them grew thick. "You're lying," he said automatically. "My father was human. He died when I was a kid." Syria shook her head. "He lived on Earth, yes, but he wasn't born here. And neither were his parents." Alex's stomach twisted. "That doesn't make sense. If my dad was an alien, wouldn't someone have noticed?" Syria gave him a sad look. "He was part of a failed experiment, just like me." Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" Syria sighed. "Decades ago, a secret group tried to mix different species with humans, hoping to create something new. Your father was one of those experiments." Alex's heart pounded. "And me." Syria hesitated. "You are different, stronger, smarter, and capable of things you don't even know yet." Alex stepped back. "This is insane. I don't have powers. I don't have some secret alien heritage. I'm just a normal guy." Syria's gaze didn't waver. "Then how do you explain this?" She pointed at another screen. It showed a video, grainy but clear enough. Alex saw himself, maybe years ago, lifting something impossibly heavy. His hands glowed faintly in the footage. His breath caught in his throat. "This isn't real," he whispered. Syria stepped closer. "It is. You just don't remember." A silence stretched between them. Alex wanted to deny it, to run, but something deep inside him knew she was telling the truth. His whole life, there had been moments, times when he healed faster than normal, when he saw things others missed, when his body moved quicker than it should. He had ignored it, chalked it up to luck or adrenaline. But now, staring at the proof, he felt the weight of something larger pressing down on him. Syria placed a hand on his shoulder. "The Krillon know what you are, Alex. They know what you can become. And that's why they won't stop hunting you." Alex swallowed hard. "What do they want me to become?" he asked. Syria's face was grim. "A weapon." The word hit him like a punch. He shook his head. "No, I won't be anyone's weapon." Syria's grip on his shoulder tightened. "Then you need to learn how to fight." Alex met her gaze. His old life was gone. The world he thought he knew had shattered. And now, the only way forward was war. "The battle begins," Alex's hands clenched into fists. The word weapon echoed in his head, heavy and cold. The truth Syria had revealed still felt unreal, like a dream he couldn't wake from. He wasn't just an ordinary guy. He was something more, something dangerous. And the Krillin knew it. He paced the safe house, his mind spinning. So, what? You expect me to suddenly become some kind of warrior? I don't even know how to fight. Syria studied him. Not yet, but you will. She turned to a panel on the wall and pressed her hand against it. The metal groaned, shifting to reveal another hidden doorway. Alex peered inside. The room beyond was unlike anything he had ever seen. Weapons lined the walls, sleek, futuristic guns, glowing blades and devices he couldn't even begin to understand. At the center of the room was a circular platform with symbols carved into its surface. Strange energy pulsed from it, humming softly. Syria stepped forward. This is what I brought you here for. Training. Alex hesitated. Training for what? Syria's expression darkened. For survival. Before Alex could protest, a loud mechanical beep echoed through the safe house. Syria spun around. No. The walls flickered, a holographic display appearing above them. The screen showed a map of the area, and on it, moving fast, were 3 red dots. Krillin ships. They found us, Syria said, her voice sharp. Alex's stomach twisted. How? She grabbed a small device from the wall and strapped it to her wrist. They must have traced the energy signature when we entered the safe house. I thought the shielding would hold longer. Outside, the ground trembled. A low, pulsing hum filled the air. They're here, Syria whispered. Alex's pulse pounded. He wasn't ready for this. He had barely processed the truth about himself. And now, the Krillin were at their door. Syria pulled 2 weapons from the wall, one for herself, the other for Alex. She tossed it to him. Take this. Alex caught it. The weapon was sleek, black, and surprisingly light. He had never held a gun before, let alone an alien one. I don't know how to use this, he said. Syria pressed a button on her wrist device. The lights in the room dimmed, and the entire safe house shifted into lockdown mode. Point and shoot, she said. And if you hesitate, you die. The ground shook again. Then, a deep metallic thud echoed from outside. Alex turned to Syria. They're coming in, aren't they? Syria nodded grimly. Yes. The first fight. The front entrance exploded inward. The force sent metal shards flying in all directions. Dust and smoke filled the air. Through the haze, tall figures emerged, Krillin soldiers, their smooth black armor gleaming under the flickering lights. Their glowing silver eyes locked onto Alex and Syria. One of them stepped forward, scanning the room. Its voice was cold, robotic. The hybrid is here. Capture him. Alex's blood ran cold. Hybrid. That's what they called him. Like he was just another experiment. Syria didn't wait. She raised her weapon and fired. A bright blue energy blast shot from her gun, hitting the nearest soldier. The force sent it crashing backward into the wall. Alex barely had time to react before another soldier lunged at him. His instincts kicked in. He raised his weapon and pulled the trigger. A beam of light shot forward, striking the Krillin in the chest. The soldier staggered but didn't fall. Alex's heart pounded. It's still standing. Syria dodged an attack, rolling to the side. They have shields. Aim for the gaps in their armor. Before Alex could process that, another soldier rushed at him. This time, he moved without thinking. He ducked, barely avoiding the sharp, blade-like weapon in the soldier's hand. His fingers tightened around the gun. He fired again, this time, aiming at the neck. The blast hit. The Krillin let out a strange, garbled sound before collapsing. Alex's eyes widened. He had just taken down an alien. He didn't have time to think about it. Another one was already moving toward him. Syria fought beside him, her movements quick and precise. She wielded a glowing energy blade now, slicing through the Krillon's defenses with practiced skill. "Alex, keep moving," she shouted. He did. He dodged another attack, rolled across the floor, and fired again. His body felt strange, lighter, faster, as if something inside him was waking up. The Krillon hesitated now. They weren't expecting resistance. One of them pressed a device on its wrist, requesting reinforcements. Syria cursed. "We need to leave. Now." Alex turned to her. "Where?" She grabbed his arm. "Follow me." They sprinted toward the back of the safe house. Syria slammed her hand against another panel, opening a hidden escape tunnel. Behind them, the Krillon regrouped. More were coming. "We won't make it," Alex said, glancing back. Syria's jaw tightened. "Then we make a stand." She raised her blade, ready to fight again. Alex gripped his weapon, his mind clear now. He wasn't just running anymore. He was fighting back. The rescue mission. The walls shook. The Krillon forces were advancing, their heavy footsteps echoing through the safe house. The reinforced metal of the facility groaned under the pressure of their weapons. Sparks flickered from the damaged entrance, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Alex and Syria stood at the threshold of the escape tunnel, their backs to the only way out. The blue glow of Syria's energy blade pulsed like a heartbeat. "They won't stop," Alex muttered. His fingers tightened around the alien weapon in his grip. His mind was racing, but his body felt oddly steady. "They never do," Syria said grimly. "The Krillon don't retreat. They don't negotiate. They either take what they want or destroy everything in their way." A robotic voice echoed through the facility. "Stand down, traitor. The hybrid must be taken alive." Alex's stomach twisted at that word again. Hybrid. Like he was some lab experiment instead of a person. Syria gritted her teeth. "They'll kill you the second they figure out they can't control you." Alex swallowed his fear. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for survival. Syria tapped a control panel. The escape tunnel behind them powered up, a series of metal doors locking into place. "This will buy us time," she said, "but it won't hold forever." Before Alex could respond, an explosion tore through the room. The blast threw them backward, sending Alex skidding across the floor. His ears rang. Smoke filled the air. Syria coughed, pushing herself up. But before she could reach him, a shadow loomed over her. A Krillon soldier. Tall, armored, its silver eyes glowing like liquid metal. It moved faster than anything Alex had ever seen. In an instant, it struck Syria, sending her crashing into a wall. "Syria!" Alex tried to move, but his muscles screamed in protest. The Krillon soldier stood over her, a weapon in its hand, a long metallic staff that crackled with dark energy. Syria struggled to get up, but the soldier raised the weapon and brought it down. A pulse of black energy surged through the air, slamming into her. She cried out. Alex's vision blurred with fury. Something inside him snapped. A surge of energy rushed through his body, a heat so intense it felt like his veins were on fire. His fingers tingled, his skin humming with electricity. The Krillon turned toward him. Its silver eyes flickered, scanning him. Power anomaly detected. Alex didn't hear the words. His body moved on instinct. The weapon in his hand, the alien gun, burned hot. He raised it, but before he could pull the trigger, the air around him bent. The floor cracked beneath his feet. A shockwave burst outward. The Krillon soldier was thrown backward, crashing into two others behind it. The walls trembled. Metal debris lifted into the air, swirling in a chaotic storm. Alex gasped, his own breath ragged. The energy, it came from him. His mind struggled to process it, but there was no time. More Krillon were entering the room. Syria groaned, trying to stand. "Alex," she rasped. Her eyes widened as she saw what he had done. But before she could speak, a second Krillon stepped forward. It wasn't a soldier. It was their leader, the Krillon commander. This one was different. Taller, leaner. Its armor was sleeker, edged with glowing blue lines that pulsed in rhythmic patterns. A deep, commanding voice emerged from it, smoother than the robotic tones of the others. "We underestimated you, hybrid." Alex's pulse pounded. The commander raised a single hand. The air shimmered. Suddenly, Alex couldn't move. It felt like invisible hands had wrapped around him, holding him in place. His breath hitched. He struggled, but it was like being trapped in stone. The Krillon commander stepped closer. "Your power is awakening," it said, "but you do not understand it. That makes you weak." Alex clenched his jaw. He could feel something deep inside him, something waiting to explode, but he didn't know how. The commander turned its head slightly. "Take the traitor," it ordered. 2 soldiers grabbed Syria. She kicked, struggling, but the energy blast from earlier had weakened her. Alex's heart slammed against his ribs. "No." The commander's silver eyes locked onto him. "You will learn, hybrid, one way or another." And then, darkness. Captured. When Alex woke, his head was pounding. His arms felt heavy. His vision blurred. The room was cold. Metallic. Alien. He was in a containment cell. Thick energy barriers hummed on all sides, glowing with an eerie red light. Syria was in the cell next to him, unconscious. Her lip was bleeding. Her jacket was torn, revealing a strange scar along her arm, one that glowed faintly. Alex's heart ached. She had fought for him, protected him. And now, they were both prisoners. He tried to move, but the moment he did, pain surged through his body. The walls of the cell reacted, sending sharp jolts through him. They weren't just keeping him locked up. They were testing him. Footsteps echoed. Alex looked up. The Krillon commander stood outside the cell, watching him with those eerie silver eyes. "Do you see now?" The commander said. "You are not human. You are not one of them. You belong to something greater." Alex gritted his teeth. "I belong to myself." The commander tilted its head. "We shall see." It pressed something on a device. Pain ripped through Alex. His body convulsed, his skin burning from the inside out. He screamed. Dark energy curled around him, pulling at something deep within. And then, something inside him broke free. Victory and farewell. Pain. It surged through Alex's body like a wildfire, twisting his muscles, searing his veins. He could hear his own heartbeat pounding like a war drum, the rhythm uneven, wild. The Krillon commander stood outside the energy cell, watching him struggle. Alex gritted his teeth, his fists clenching against the floor. "I won't break." But the Krillon's machine didn't stop. The dark energy crackled around him, tearing into his mind, his memories, his very existence. A voice echoed inside his head. "You are not human. You were never meant to be." Alex gasped as another wave of pain hit him. His body jerked, his vision flashing between reality and something else, something deeper. Then, suddenly, a pulse. Not from the machine. From him. A surge of raw energy blasted outward. The containment cell flickered, its red energy barrier cracking. The Krillon commander stepped back, eyes narrowing. Interesting. Alex's entire body burned, but not from pain anymore. It was something new, something powerful. The air around him vibrated, the metal floor beneath his hands bending as if responding to him. He could feel the structure of the ship, every wire, every pulse of energy flowing through it. His instincts screamed, "Fight back." The moment he thought it, the barrier shattered. A shockwave tore through the room, sending the Krillon commander crashing into the far wall. Alarms blared. The entire ship trembled. Alex staggered forward, breathing hard. He felt light, as if gravity itself had loosened its grip on him. He looked down at his hands. Blue and white energy flickered around his fingertips. "What am I?" A weak groan caught his attention. Syria. He turned to the second containment cell. She was still inside, unconscious, her body limp against the floor. Alex focused. The same power that had broken his cell now coursed through his veins. He reached out, instinct taking over. The energy barrier around Syria's cell crackled. Alex clenched his fist, and the barrier collapsed. Syria's body fell forward. Alex caught her before she hit the floor. Her eyes fluttered open. "Alex." "I got you," he said. His voice sounded different, stronger, heavier. Syria blinked at him, confused. Then her gaze flickered to the shattered energy cells, to the Krylon commander recovering in the distance. "How?" she whispered. Alex didn't have an answer. Before they could speak, the room shook violently. The ship's systems were failing. Sparks rained from the ceiling as warning sirens blared in alien tones. Syria grabbed Alex's arm. "We have to go. Now." The final battle. The door to the holding chamber burst open. Krylon soldiers flooded inside, weapons raised. Syria jumped to her feet, raising her energy blade. "Can you fight?" Alex looked at the soldiers, then at his hands. The energy still pulsed through him, alive, hungry. He smirked. "I think so." The Krylon fired first. Alex moved before he could think. His body blurred, reacting faster than humanly possible. He dodged the energy blasts, weaving through them with unnatural speed. His hands lifted, and then, without touching them, the weapons in the Krylon's hands ripped away from them, flung into the air by some invisible force. "I did that." Alex clenched his fists. The same power that had broken the cell was now his to command. Syria didn't waste the opportunity. She dashed forward, slicing through the Krylon ranks with precise, lethal strikes. Alex joined the fight. When a soldier lunged at him, he didn't step back, he pushed with his mind. The air rippled, and the soldier was thrown across the room, slamming into the metal wall with a sickening crack. Another one charge. Alex raised a hand, and the Krylon's armor imploded, crumpling as if crushed by an invisible hand. More soldiers stormed in. Alex lifted both hands, and the entire floor beneath them collapsed, sending them tumbling into the lower deck of the ship. Syria looked at him, wide-eyed. "Alex, you're—" "No time," he interrupted. "Where's the exit?" She snapped back to focus. "Follow me." They sprinted through the halls of the ship, alarms blaring all around them. More Krylon appeared, but Alex didn't stop. He could feel the ship now, as if it were an extension of his body. He reached out with his mind, and the walls themselves bent and shifted, sealing off corridors, trapping their enemies inside. Syria glanced at him as they ran. "You're doing this." "I think so," Alex admitted, "and I don't know how to stop." "Then don't." They reached the hangar. A sleek alien ship sat in the center, already preparing for takeoff. Syria grabbed Alex's wrist. "We're stealing that." Alex grinned. "Sounds like a plan." They ran toward the ship, dodging gunfire. Syria sprinted ahead, activating the controls while Alex covered her. The Krylon commander appeared at the entrance of the hangar, its silver eyes glowing with fury. Alex turned to face it. "You do not understand what you are, hybrid," the commander said. "You cannot run from your nature." Alex raised his hand. Energy crackled around his fingers. "Watch me." He unleashed his power. A shockwave blasted outward, tearing through the hangar. The Krylon commander staggered back, its armor cracking. Syria grabbed Alex's arm and pulled him onto the ship. The hatch sealed behind them. "Hold on," she shouted. The ship roared to life. Engines flared, and the stolen craft shot out of the hangar, racing into the dark expanse of space. Behind them, the Krylon mothership shuddered, its damaged systems overloading. Explosions rippled across its surface. And then, the entire ship detonated, consumed in a blinding fireball. Alex watched from the cockpit, his chest rising and falling heavily. Syria let out a breath. We did it. Alex leaned back against the seat. His body still hummed with energy, but exhaustion was creeping in. So, what now? He asked. Syria looked at him, her expression unreadable. Now, we figure out what you really are. Alex exhaled. That's gonna be a problem, isn't it? Syria smirked. Oh, absolutely. She set the ship's course, the stars stretching before them. Earth was safe. For now. But Alex knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning.